Yeah, the thingy here, we normally see ourselves in there.
I don't know about that, but all I know, everything is on, and it's on there.
Right, you can see us. Everything's yeah, it's fine. It's alright. I won't bother about it. It's okay. Good morning. I have with me this morning two very interesting guys from the Felixstowe Buskers. They're going to be around on the 1st of September, so you can all go and watch them. I have Gordon Soames and I have Stuart Stevens. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
What they're going to do is tell you how Felixstowe Buskers came about. Both of their stories extremely interesting and not what you'd be really expecting. So I think we can start with you, aren't we, Stuart?
Yes, if that's okay.
Fire away.
Right then. Well, I mean, my name's Stuart Stevens, then, and you probably will tell quite quickly that I'm not exactly a local, though I do live locally now, and I'm from Birmingham. But my background is I'm a composer, so I'm not quite your sort of average promoter, really. Neither of us are. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in fact, if you dig back a bit before that, I was a radiographer, and that's not that long ago, about 7 years ago.
7 years ago. So you're actually in the NHS?
Yeah, I was in the NHS, worked in a hospital in Birmingham doing CT scanning and stuff, and then latterly got involved with managing projects.
Yeah.
Like you do. People drift into management.
Okay.
And then leave. But that's a different topic.
I'm sure you could talk about that for hours.
Okay, we both have that NHS sort of tremor, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Ex-NHS.
Yeah.
Anyway, but what happened was, it got to my 40th birthday, and my mum is 20 years older than me. She was 20 when she had me, and it was her 60th. So she dreamed up this idea, which was a good idea, of having a 100th birthday party between us. But I hate the idea of the sort of birthday with disco and stuff. So I said, as long as we get a band in. And we couldn't find a band anywhere. Well, we could, but they were all awful or all pensioned, or they were really expensive. You know? I did quite enjoy going to all these different pub gigs, though.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah,
just
that
because
was
that
all right.
bonus, wasn't it? Yeah.
But you know, when you hear, I mean, we've said it about Felixstowe Buskers. We don't want 20 versions of Wonderwall.
No.
You know, and that,
No.
you get to the stage where everybody's just the same thing. So I decided I'd form a band. I knew the accountant at the hospital I was at, who played bass, Julie. And so we talked about it. And then next thing, we've got this 4-piece rock band. And we played covers, the usual things, but not Wonderwall. In fact, they weren't the usual things. We did things like Bowie, Ziggy Stardust. We did stuff I'd liked as a youngster.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And stuff my mum had liked as a youngster. So we went back, we did some Beatles. It was great.
Oh, wow.
And we were all ready to pack up and say, well, that was a lot of fun. And someone came up and said, can I book you for my party? So that was that. So then for a few months, we were doing our day jobs all in the hospital. I started writing again. I'd not done that since I'd been a young man in my 20s, really. Yeah. 51 in a few weeks. So. And I hadn't done that for years. And then next thing, we're getting called one of the best bands in Brum. And we did we had an idea to do a single for Water Aid, a song I'd written.
Okay.
We ended up, as a consequence, going to New York and doing a mini tour. And so this is all why we still work in the NHS. And we took a week off and went on tour and played bars. And that was a fantastic experience.
Oh, I bet it was.
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing about New York is everybody's got an agenda. So you meet all these people who are all full of life.
Yeah.
Really vibrant music scene. In fact, what I saw in New York has influenced me a lot, really, with the Felixstowe Buskers idea. Because the thing about New York, you go to the area, London's great, but you've got certain styles that you can find in live music.
Yeah.
New York, you can go from bar to restaurant to bar around Lower East Side and Greenwich Village.
Yes.
And you can find everything going on. You can find a classical quartet that are doing punk with electric instruments, just the strangest mixed up things, and people doing all styles of music. And it struck me that, and all ages appreciating it, struck me that we're a bit locked into genres. Is it dance? Is it here? But that was an influence. Yeah. So that was New York. And then while I was there, I'd been there not long after the September the 11th disaster.
Right, okay.
With the Twin Towers, and I'd been there not long after, and I'd actually accidentally wandered a bit close as well, and seen a bit too close, and the police had come up. in their flashy things on West Side Highway. But it was awful. It was awful. I saw the rubble trucks coming along to the Hudson.
Yeah.
And it had affected me. But I met some firemen while I was there the first time, and it hurt to hear their story, really.
I'm sure.
You know, one guy said, I went into work in the morning and came home and 42 of my colleagues were dead. Yeah. And they're all volunteers, of course, which makes it even more poignant, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I'd had this idea I'd write a song, but that always seems a bit trite when it's something serious, I think. You know, and you end up doing a We Are the World sort of trite thing.
Yeah.
And anyway, we went back with the band, and it was seeing the recovery of the people, seeing how much more together they were, having been apart, and how they pulled together. Now New York had become more friendly and all those things. Yeah. That made me come back and think, I will write it because I can say something positive now. And then it felt like a requiem, like a mass for the dead, but then a resurrection. And so that was the thought. Yeah, do you see what I mean? Yeah. And I thought, to me, this makes sense of it. What makes sense of that disaster is the way people have come together after it. And that makes the value is not, obviously it's a dreadful thing, but rather than the big war sort of type cries, I preferred the cries of the people I was saying, let's rebuild, let's regroup.
That's it, let's just move forward. Exactly. We're reborn. Yeah, exactly.
So that inspired me so deeply, because that's my faith as well, that I wrote this requiem, and it was for orchestra and choir and rock band, 40 minutes long. Never really done anything like that before. And then it got played by Birmingham Philharmonic Orchestra, which was...
The story continues.
Yeah, it's just, I look back and it is a bit of a case of how did all this happen? So it was that thing again where you speak to someone and they know someone who then calls you, and next thing you're talking to a conductor shaking like a leaf because you've never been in this situation. The conductor was from English National Opera when he wasn't doing this orchestra.
Oh my goodness.
So I was absolutely petrified, but it was all right. And then he recommended that I go to Birmingham Conservatoire, which is one of the top 5 music schools in the country, along with Trinity and Guildhall and that. And so I went there, not with much expectation, took the score, and the head of composition there, Joe Cutler, said, would you like to do a master's in composition, a master's degree in music composition? So I got back up off the floor because I sort of expected, oh yeah, we can do you a little remedial class. You see, I can honestly say it was just like a dream going on. Really. Yeah. So I finished that and did all right. Got pieces played by Birmingham Contemporary Music Group.
All right.
I've had commission from Albury Music in 2009.
Oh, wonderful.
Giant chimes installation that we put inside.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was good.
It was.
That was a lot of fun, and it was owned by the Mayor of Ipswich at the time, Jane Chambers, and by the Suffolk Coastal Chair as well. Yeah. But Jane Chambers was a friend of ours because she also commissioned me to write a piece for voice and flute and piano for a civic service, St Mary Le Tower. So it's been really interesting. But since I did that, what's really interesting is because of working with Gordon in the partnership, which he'll come to, and because of the Albury stuff, I've found myself now sort of being a native of 2 worlds because I'm in Birmingham one week. At Birmingham Conservatoire, but then the rest of the time here in Felixstowe. Yeah. And actually, I write here, so, and I love Benjamin Britten, so I kind of feel like I'm the working man's Benjamin Britten, you see.
On the coast, no. Did you find that writing in Felixstowe, do you think it's just being on the coast and the laid-back atmosphere here?
There's this thing, everybody in the Midlands says, I'd love to live by the seaside.
Yes.
But it wasn't Felixstowe at first, it was Ipswich.
Right.
Because I found Ipswich reminded me, I'm not actually from Birmingham, I'm from Wolverhampton, which has grown now, but when I was young was similar to Ipswich.
Yes.
At the same
and as soon as I came to Ipswich, I thought, I recognise this way of life. Large town, rather than big city. I've always felt it was too big, Birmingham. It's not a bad city, and the people are okay. No. But it's just the sheer size, and so Ipswich really appealed. But of course, then it's next to the sea. But then I fell in love with Felixstowe. Yeah. Felixstowe's got everything.
It definitely has.
It has. Yeah. It really has. And if people only knew, which is what one of the reasons we want to do this is to get we're appalled when we speak to people in Ipswich and they say, well, it wouldn't necessarily be my first choice at the weekend. What? Why not?
Exactly. I'd definitely rather be in Felixstowe, than Ipswich. I mean, to me, I've lived most of my life here, and
Well, I feel privileged now to be able to be. It's realised another one of my dreams. One of my dreams was always to do music, but I never thought it would happen.
Yeah.
And I'd gone on the wrong tack. It was about being a rock star, and that was silly. I should have just concentrated on writing, and now I do. And the other thing is that I always wanted to be by the sea, but not because of that I want to be by the sea, but just because when I was very young, we used to go to St Ives in Cornwall, me and my mum and dad. And I just remember that the atmosphere seemed to be one of ease. I think it's because people relax, don't they?
Yes, definitely.
You really notice the difference when you come from the city to Felixstowe.
Yes.
Completely different pace of life.
People walk slower, they amble, I think, more than... If you're in a city, I think it says Birmingham, London, Liverpool, anywhere like that, people are always on a rush.
They are.
They're always on the go.
They are.
You know, I mean, if I go to London for the day and I come back, I just, it takes me another day to get over it.
It's also like you're ruled by transport needs, aren't you?
It is.
And I love it
totally.
because we said...
We noticed, because we both drive, right, so when we're driving in Birmingham, I've got used to driving in Birmingham now, so it took me a while to. But when we come back to Felixstowe, everyone is more courteous. Everyone drives slower, you know, and they'll let you in, you know, where you don't get that in a big city, do you?
But the other thing I really like is that the car gets parked up and then you're never more than half an hour's walk or cycle ride away from anything.
From anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the thing that inspires me as a writer is the never-ending sky in Suffolk.
Yeah.
It's that sense of, I don't know, I could say something really cheesy like the eternal, but it is like that.
It is like it. It
you know,
is.
Sometimes feeling small makes you feel big in a strange way.
Yeah, I mean, especially on a winter's day. If you look over the sea on a winter's day, there's just something so special. As you said, you're just looking out at forever, maybe a few wispy clouds, and you know, even the seagulls coming in and just coming in.
And then the
gracefully.
detail becomes so interesting.
Oh, it does. It does.
It really does.
We really like the way that the weather changes. You can't tell from 1 hour to the next what the weather's going to be doing.
Felixstowe's got its own weather.
Forget the weather forecast.
Two rivers were completely unique, I think, to the country. You know, it'd be pouring with rain in Ipswich. The sun would be out.
You can see the black clouds sort of then the sun is shining.
It does. Or it just goes overhead, and as you said, right out at sea, and you can see it right out at sea, just a border. They'll never get to us. That's where it's going to stay.
But you have photography, don't you? So often out on Langard Point.
Yeah.
And it's amazing as well, just looking, it gets as far as Shotley, doesn't it? Shotley Peninsula, you'll see the rain.
That's it, you can watch it, or over Harwich, you know, in either, and we're not going to get anything. Well, the photography thing brings us through to Gordon. I think tell us all about yourself, Gordon. I mean, you know.
I've got a very sort of varied background as well, really, because I'm from a farming family. Originally.
Right, okay.
And Stuart's always saying, well, you were an original hippie, weren't you? And we like to tell everybody. Gordon was around in the 60s. Yes, and he went overland, and I did go overland to Morocco, you know, with some friends.
Oh, brilliant, fantastic.
You know, in a transit
van.
So you did the typical hippie thing?
Yeah, I took a month off work, and then no plans, we just drove. So, you know, and then music. I've always been really, really interested in music.
Okay.
That's always been my
well, the real hippie thing you're leaving out is the bit that you actually went to work in London for a while, right at the height of the 60s scene in the clubs.
Doing what?
Yeah, and the underground scene, music scene.
Yes.
Floyd.
So Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Rod Stewart before he was famous.
Yeah.
You know, lots of people.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. You know, and I really loved it. And then I moved back. Well, when I was working in London, then I decided to move back again. Really, because I got London out of my system.
Fair enough.
A lot of people do that, don't they?
Yeah, I just want to go home again now.
Right.
So I did. I worked for a retail company. Then I went to work for the East Anglian Daily Times, advertising. For nearly 20 years, and then I decided to completely change careers, and I went into social work.
Right. Well, that's completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, we're a drug and alcohol social worker
Right, okay.
for nearly 20 years
Fantastic.
as well.
So you're doing a really good job then, obviously, with young people and...
Very rewarding.
Very rewarding.
Yeah. And then I decided to take early retirement, you know, and do what I wanted to do, you know, and that's why I'm able to devote, you know, as much time as I can to the organisation. Now, how I met Stuart was online, first of all, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Through MySpace.
Okay.
He told
it was
you
in
about,
that period when the Arctic Monkeys had supposedly become famous through MySpace.
Okay.
So everybody was doing this thing. I had as many friends as possible on MySpace. So I thought, well, maybe that'll work for a composer. So I was trying to add as many people as possible to this Requiem from New York page, wasn't it? And you came on, but you actually commented. You actually,
I did.
Point.
As soon as I heard the music, it just sort of got to me. I just felt something.
Yeah.
And then I found out Stuart's background, and I said to you, "You're going to be famous one day. I've got every confidence that you're going to be a great musician."
I am. You know, we're on telly.
And I'd like to sort of come along for the journey really, and sort of support
definitely.
you.
And you could see that there were opportunities because we'd already got the embryonic company. The original partner, Julie, had to move to Germany with her family for work. So I was left in a situation where I'd got a legally registered partnership with Companies House, and them sending letters saying, if you don't find a partner within 3 months, you'll either become a sole trader or you'll have to wind up the company. And I instinctively knew that I shouldn't do that. I don't know why, because at the time there wasn't anything going on.
No.
The band
You just knew at the back of your mind that time wasn't quite right.
And
so it still had to be there.
Yeah, and it's that thing of, because for me, and it's probably worth mentioning that now, that for me, music isn't about the industry at all, the music industry. There is a music business, and I'm part of that. There are those of us who earn money as musicians or producers of music or whatever, or but the music industry, I think, has done a disservice to people, because music is something much more than an industry, really. And if you look at world history, and the history of man and woman, if you look at the history of people, there is not a single culture around now, or has ever been, that has not had music.
No.
And that can't be said of any other art form. So there must be something
quite right.
that we all own. You know, it's something we all own. And I think what the music industry does is it tells people you've either got to be this certain thing and then be famous, or forget it. But my mum, she's taken pleasure all her life from singing in choirs and choral societies.
Wonderful.
And they've sung some of the most beautiful music and some of the best performances I've seen.
Yeah.
So what drives me, I've had an opportunity. Everyone's heard my story. I've been a lucky so-and-so because doors have opened at the right time, and I've had the right people. And we want to give that back, really.
Exactly.
And we like being Felixstowe, and we need a base for our operations. And so through a series of events, isn't it? Sorry. So
we know we've heard lots of really, really good singers and musicians in Suffolk, you know, that and we just want to help people.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, get an audience, really.
But that's where we have to bring Jerry in now, because part of my work as a composer.
Right, okay.
Yeah, this is where it happens.
This is
the story of Felixstowe Buskers. Jerry Crossan. And what happened was, when we first moved to Felixstowe, as I say, the company is based in Suffolk, so we're here. First moved into Felixstowe last June. At the time, I was looking for someone to change a guitar. Because, yeah, there's some pieces I'm making which are.
This is where it gets technical.
Just a little bit technical. My research, because I'm doing a PhD, but also my work as a musician, as a composer, is about looking at a different way of doing harmony. So it's not atonal music, but it is music that uses the notes in between the notes, microtonal type music. And I've stumbled across some research from the past and stuff from the 17th century, which is a kind of different tuning system. So you do need to put a different set of instruments out to play. And one of them was, we'll change a guitar. Because we can change where the frets are and have these extra notes. And I tried luthiers and guitar repairers in Birmingham. I think I must have tried 4, and none of them, can't do that, not possible. I sent an email to someone in London, and they said
they couldn't do it.
They couldn't do it. And then we were walking around Manning's Market one Sunday, Saw this little guitar shop.
Ah,
in the corner.
guitars.
And you found
Guitars.
Jerry.
Yeah. Well, guitars to me is like, you know, they're sort of like a magnet. I have to go and look. Everyone who plays an instrument, especially those sort. Guitars from a mile away, you know. Got talking to him. Turns out he's a guitar repairer, and he said what everyone else had said. He said it can't be done.
No,
but then he said, "But I'll try."
That was the difference, wasn't it?
Oh, that's why. Yeah, exactly. And so then, through that relationship, and Jerry built this guitar, and it premiered in a piece in Birmingham at the recital hall in December.
Yeah, and he came along.
He came to Birmingham to see it. It's all really great. And he and his business partner Phil. So Jerry's got the fretwork shop, if anyone knows that.
Yeah.
And he does guitar repairs, plug, very, very well.
Yes.
And very reasonably. And then Jerry and his business partner Phil have the unit in the corner of Manning's Market.
That's correct. Yeah.
The guitar shop. And they've got these lovely guitars second hand and stuff. And actually, it was one of their guitars we bought that got refretted. I can only recommend them. Really, really good people to any musicians who are watching. But we got talking to Jerry, and we'd sat around watching all these crowds of people on the seafront over the months, thinking there could be something going on. And we felt it could be busking simply because we've been to Paris, and if anyone's been to Paris, they have buskers on the metro.
Yes.
And they encourage it, and you've got people playing dulcimers and saxophonists,
all
and
sorts.
Funk bands. They really are diverse.
Yeah.
And we sort of thought, how can we get this off? And we talked about it, and then we talked about maybe sharing their unit. And then next thing we were talking to the Mannings family, and then all of a sudden, the Mannings are saying, "We'll host it here, do it here."
Yes.
Fantastic.
We'll build a stage.
Yeah.
So whereabouts in Mannings are you going to be set? I mean, so people know exactly where to aim.
Right. Well, I think the first thing to notice is that Mannings is changing a bit. Mannings Market.
It has changed a lot.
Yeah. So when people go in now, there's a sort of decking area by the cafe. And if you follow that round and you get to the far corner where Phil and Jerry's guitar shop is, back of the market, you'll now see Grandma's Porch. Because the 3 units that we occupy between us are just having decking built now, and they're going to have sort of southern-style railings.
Wow.
The back's going to be clad with
windows
and a washboard up and stuff.
Lovely. Absolutely.
And there's 2 stages. The stage that Mannings are providing is fantastic. It's under a canopy.
Yeah.
It's 46 foot long by 7.5 foot deep. So you could put a small jazz band on there if you use the whole thing.
Brilliant.
But if you're down on Sundays, it's going to run on now. If you're down on Sundays, we'll either be in Buskers Corner, which is the little bit in front of Jerry's shop, and that will be pure busking, where people just come along. And we've actually got a self-rostering system coming where they can sign up to play.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes, so it's
online.
Come on, musicians.
Yeah, musicians, you'll have to sign up.
Sign up online.
Yeah, we'll give you all the details probably at the end. Yeah. So there'll either be that, or there'll be Grandma's Porch, which will be sort of, I don't know, every couple of weeks, 4 weeks, whatever frequency next year.
Yeah.
There's a few events this year, and Grandma's Porch is much more 2, 3, 4 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And planned.
And planned and promoted.
And the sound and
the sound.
You know,
so it's kind of, there's a little mini concert festival, but otherwise there's always busking.
Okay.
Yeah. And the idea is just to connect musicians with people, really. And
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's already started. We've only just moved in, and we've just made so many connections.
Yeah, we've got a few people playing, and just to warm it up.
Yeah.
And then the idea is, if you're down there and you're listening to the music and you enjoy it, we're going to have 2 lutes, old guitars, and it's put the lute in the lute. So then we just collect some money for the buskers.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And from our point of view, I suppose because Mannings are also going to be, we're going to be working with them to use their arena market canopy for concerts.
Okay.
And our idea is if we can build a sort of scene around music, folk, jazz, that sort of acoustic music, singer-songwriters, all that stuff that everybody sort of likes, really,
Yeah.
If we can build a scene around that, then that puts us in a position as a company to bring some interesting artists into that canopy.
Put on some larger events.
Yeah.
Which is going to be absolutely brilliant. So obviously the 1st of September is the one you're advertising.
Yes.
So tell me a bit more about it in a minute to give me a rough idea who's going to be there.
Right.
But starting with the 1st, so are you hoping to carry on all the way through the winter and that sort of thing and into next year? And
We've got a few events in the winter. One of the
Right.
issues about the winter is it's quite hard for musicians in the cold
To play outside.
To play in the cold.
Yeah.
play in the cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, they're talking about putting some heaters up. So yeah.
So that was we should get rid of that problem.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We will. So
Yeah.
the plan is, because we've jumped right into this in the middle of the season, really.
Yeah.
You know, the plan is to run events now and run busking now up to October.
Okay.
Then we'll go a little bit quiet with
And-
just a Christmas market,
Do the
Yeah.
Christmas market.
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
come back with a full program in the spring.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Because what we need to do, we need to recruit musicians now.
Exactly.
Yes.
We need enough musicians
Yeah.
to come forward.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
the thing.
We'd rather do that and then wait and start a full rolling program from then
Mm.
than start and run out of people who will play.
Exactly.
You know, it's
No,
that thing.
exactly. You
Yeah.
know, and the other thing is, you don't want the same people coming back week after week after
Not
week.
at all.
I mean, you want
No.
people to come and they say, "Oh, I wonder who it's going to be this week.
Exactly.
What kind of music
Yeah.
we're going to listen to this week."
Exactly.
You
that.
know, so
Yeah.
they can carry on doing their shopping and then they have
And you know, there's
this and
so-
carry on. It's going to be brilliant.
Do you know, I've sat and I've watched and I've thought there's sort of an age group missing on Sundays in Felixstowe. There's sort of an 18 to 25, 26 age group. There's
Yeah.
families with young children.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
thinking, and there's also universities and music schools and colleges all around this area
Which
with
there
that age
definitely
group.
Mm.
You know.
Mm.
And I think part of what we'll do in the log, and what we know, is that we're going to go. We've got friends. Obviously, I do lecturing as well, so I've
Yeah.
got friends within that network. And what we're going to do is go out and invite the students.
Recruit
Yes.
from
Colchester
students.
Institute students, come
Yeah.
and try out
Fantastic.
your art down
Yeah.
in Felixstowe.
Well, the Suffolk, and you've got the Suffolk
Exactly.
College, of course, there.
Exactly.
And if you've,
Hmm.
you know, if someone's got a gig playing
Yeah,
in Felixstowe, then they're going to bring friends as well, aren't
course
they?
they
You
are.
see,
of course they are.
you know.
And then there's the
Yeah.
people who aren't semi-pro or pro
Hmm.
or just like to have a go.
Yeah.
And some of those people are actually quite good guitarists, singers, whatever. And we meet a lot of them now because they come and buy guitars from Jerry and Phil. And they'll pick up this guitar and they'll start to play and you'll say, wow, you're quite a guitarist. But they don't play to anybody else.
No, they just play for their own amusement.
No, this is
don't they?
the
Yeah.
thing. This is the thing. I mean, my brother. I mean, quite honestly, he's extremely good, really good. He's got 9 different guitars.
Right.
I mean, he loves his guitaring, but he's never, ever, ever gone out there and done it in public.
No.
And goodness knows
Mm.
why. I mean, he doesn't live
Mm.
around here, unfortunately. He lives in Wisby, so
Right,
it's not
that's
really
a
going to help
shame.
matters. But
We'll
it's,
invite him for the weekend and
yeah,
tell him to bring his
bring
guitar.
it,
Well, no, because
one of them down
it's
there.
exactly that. It's
Yeah,
that.
it-
Yeah,
it'd
but
be
it's that
great.
thing where I was talking to a guy on Sunday, and he's an ex-Falklands vet, and he just bought a guitar he wanted for
Yeah.
years because he tried a similar guitar in the Falklands.
Yeah.
They used to sit and jam together, and he was a good player. And the idea of someone like him, I was talking to him about it, is that we have an open mic about every 6 weeks.
Okay.
And it's for people who just want to come and do 2 songs.
Yes.
If they've
You know.
never performed in public before, or
just
not,
want to
you know,
try
Yeah.
it, you know.
yeah,
All these people who learn to play guitar, learn to play all these. We've got piano down there. We've got digital piano as well.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
In fact, we're thinking of having a piano. Mrs. Manning is trying to donate her piano to us. I
Yes.
think more than she wants it out of the house.
Out of the house,
Yeah,
right. Okay,
right.
fair
the
enough.
furniture she wants out of the
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
So we're thinking of painting that up and having it there so that people can come and just play.
Brilliant.
You know, good or
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
just have a go.
We've seen it. We've seen it
Paddington
done at
Station
Paddington
they've got
Station.
Station, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a piano,
Why not in
Paddington
Felixstowe?
and we've seen people sort of coming on, just go plonk, 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 and then we've seen other people coming
Well,
on.
you get the kids,
And
don't
really
you?
play.
Yeah, you get the kids
Yeah.
doing doodly.
chopsticks and
And then
Lovely
suddenly
chopsticks.
and
Yeah.
then someone sit down and play some really nice sort of
Mm.
easy jazz stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So, 1st of September, that's how it all starts, obviously. So, who have you actually got coming on the 1st of September?
Right. Oh, we've got some very interesting people, and they're
Yeah.
all local.
And, we,
Hello.
and we've got an MC for the day.
Right. Well, let's talk about
Yeah.
Terry first, because
Yeah.
Terry Mackley's the MC, and some of you may know Terry Mackley
Mm-hmm.
because he's done radio on Ipswich Community Radio. He's certainly Framingham, but he's a piano player.
Okay.
He's one of these people. If you press the button, he talks endlessly about music,
Yeah.
Yeah.
particularly
Yeah.
jazz.
He's got a very long background in music as well. You know, right from the
Okay.
from the 60s, the blues and
Yeah.
soul.
Yeah.
And he did tell us once that he even played keyboards with the Bachelors.
Oh, wow.
Well, I think when they came to Felixstowe.
Yes, many,
Yeah.
many years ago, they
Yeah.
definitely
So
is.
it
Yes.
was-
you're right
And he's
there.
real interested.
Mm.
His passion is music of the the 40s and the 50s.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Okay.
So he's going to host the show, and
Right.
in between, we've got 4 other acts, and in between those acts, he'll do his spiel and play his piano and do a couple of Hoagie Carmichael is his thing.
Lovely.
So straight away, it's not what you're going to get on average
No,
in the street.
Exactly. Well, that's going to appeal to older people as well.
Exactly.
Because you've definitely got,
exactly.
you've got something like that. I mean, you've got a lot of the older people, and they're going to be so reminiscent and all this music, so that's going to be good for them.
And he does it so well. Yeah. He's got a kind of George Melly style, but not so quirky. But he's got one of those big voices.
I'm with you.
And he just makes you smile as well.
Oh, lovely. Fantastic.
Yeah, everyone will like Terry.
Yeah.
So he's going to anchor the whole thing. And so through the day from 10 till 4 on a continuous rolling music.
Okay.
Right? So we've got Lisa Ambrose. She's a singer-songwriter from Lowestoft.
Okay.
And she has got a real fresh edge. She's not like a lot of the singer-songwriters. It's not, how can I put it without offending anybody? It's not moaning into her own navel type singer-songwriting.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. She doesn't sort of talk to the ground when she's
Yeah.
singing and stuff.
Yeah, and she's got a great voice.
Fantastic.
And her harmonica playing is, she's a
Yeah.
brilliant harmonica player as well.
And real raw blues.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, the old
How
grey-
can
you know,
she
the
do that?
Yeah.
How can she be doing that? You know,
Wow.
fantastic. You know the old grey whistle test theme
Yes.
tune type stuff, but
Yes.
then really going. So.
Oh, she's going to, no, she's
Yeah,
she's
so
a
she'll go down
nice-
well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then we've got Robert Castellani from Ipswich.
Mhm.
Robert is a guitarist, an acoustic guitarist.
Okay.
So you won't hear him singing, it'll just be playing. And he was a grand finalist last year in the Mercury National Guitarist of the Year Awards at South Bank Centre. He, you'll see him playing all over this area, but he's really great because it's all sorts of stuff that he does, but he has his own way of playing stuff. You know, it's a bit like a modern James Galway. He can take anything and turn it into a style. Like James Galway did with flute.
And he's a very sensitive player as well.
Right.
You know, just a strum.
So you and him speaking.
They'll be one to reflect it.
Yes.
I mean, we are in a market. You know, there's people shopping
Yeah.
and stuff and people talking. So
Yeah.
it's busking. It will be audible. There will be places to linger. But in the end, it's not a concert with a sit-down audience.
No.
So, you know, there's variations in pace and dynamics and stuff like that. Sounded good, didn't it?
It did. Very
Did that
good.
reassure anyone who might not be reassured?
And the next act is A Light Left On,
Yes, a light left on.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
and they're a duo from Clacton.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they're interesting because we posted that we were launching this on Facebook, just an initial thing on Sunday, and within 6 hours they were saying, "How can we get involved?"
We want to get involved.
Brilliant.
See,
So it's
Brilliant.
there is interest. You know, there is a lot of interest, isn't it?
they're a sort of Neil Finn, Crowded House type songwriting
Okay.
duo. Brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the sort of closing off the day, at the end of the day,
The big finale.
the big finale
Yeah.
is our friends from Ipswich, Celtic meets Brazilian folk rock outfit Kiss the Mistress.
Now this sounds interesting.
Just
Yeah.
returned from Cambridge Folk Festival.
Oh, of course, yes, that's been on.
Yeah,
hasn't it?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're on at Folk East.
They're on at Folk
at
East.
Clem Hall
Okay.
towards the
Yeah.
end of the month.
So you see,
Yeah.
these aren't just rubbishy people singing
Definitely
they are
not.
quality.
bad versions of Oasis
Yeah.
songs in the street while you're trying to walk into Boots type busking.
Yeah.
It's a
All of
true
these people.
story.
It is.
All of these people have jumped at coming down
Yeah,
because I think they can all see that the potential here is so high
it is.
for connecting musicians with audiences,
It
which is
is.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
This is
It
all
is.
it's about.
I think Felixstowe's needed for an awful long time. Thank you so much for talking to me, guys.
Thank you.
I've had a fantastic
Thank
time
you.
with you this morning, and I'm sure
Brilliant.
you've enjoyed it too.
We have.
We have. We've
It's been,
loved it. We've loved
Thank
it.
you.
Interesting.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody out there.